Origin Chess Home Series Reaction. This is our Mongooses OP. I pronounced that right? Mongooses. Yeah, our Mongooses OP. Mangoes are OP, but I don't know about mongooses. I literally have no knowledge about any of this. Like where they are, where they're from, which server are they from, who are their natural predator or whatever, like what they have to fear. Judging from the thumbnail, maybe lions. If that's the case, I don't know how they be OP if they have to keep up with lions and shit. I don't know. I get surprised every time watching Tierzoo videos. Basically, that something that I didn't thought of much turns out to be something OP because of something they do makes them OP, right? Like this, what is a river otters? What are they called, right? Those otters, right? How deadly they are, and when they basically attack something, you just make this kind of bah, 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 bah sound, which is like cherry on top of nightmare. So I don't know. Mongooses could be OP. Who knows? Let's watch this one. This is new Tierzoo video. Tierzoo videos are always fun, right? Because I think he was like one of the first or only one that got big enough to, like that, basically turned a zoology type of video into like video game style thing, which is always fun, right? He makes all these video game noises and things, like puts graphs that makes it look like video game and calls the nature, I guess, like server and things, right? I don't know, developers, right? Nature developer and like different type of terrain is like this meta and that meta is always fun. So let's do this one.
Cats and dogs are both some of the most overpowered builds in the entire game. But in order to reach that level of success, their player bases needed to try out a ton of different strategies. Both Caniforms and Feliforms have a powerful solitary tank buster on their roster. They both have mid-sized scavengers on their roster. And perhaps most interestingly, both developed slender generalist builds with an emphasis on digging and brash intimidation.
What?
And Feliforms have a powerful solitary tank buster.
Okay, bears are part of caniforms, so same tree of dogs. I mean, I didn't know that. Nobody told me in the comments. I've been constantly saying that for a long time now, that like cats are in a way overpowered because they have like something like tigers and lions in the same tree, while dogs doesn't have something like that. Dogs are dogs, like German Shepherd shit. I didn't know that in that type of way, bear is also part of that. So that kind of evens things out, right? I don't know.
Digging and brash intimidation. On the caniform side, we have the mustelids, builds like weasels, ferrets, and honey badgers. And on the feliform side, we have the mongoose. Despite being a close relative of cats and sharing a lot of abilities with them, they also have a lot of unique traits that set them apart from every other.
Oh, mob mentality, of course. So basically like otters, right? Horizontal venom, impunity. Okay, that makes them OP in a way. Don't worry about snakes and shit. And many others like venomous thing. Natural intelligence, flexible form, unlikely allies. So they're gonna be like somewhat like cat, like reflexes and things like that, right? They must have that.
Predator build in the game. So are they actually better than their more traditional feline counterparts? Or are their special abilities just gimmicky jank? Today we'll discuss.
We'll begin. I like how big ass snake basically bites and is like, yes, I don't care.
And as always, with a look at the mongoose's base stats. Starting off with the mongoose's intelligence. Mongooses have an intelligence similar to that of a rat, which is to say they're quite clever. Mongooses are generalists and need to be able to think on their feet in a variety of situations in order to succeed. But their best usage of intelligence is in coordinated team tactics. Team tactics are a rarity in the feliform faction of the mammal player base. But among the small pool of social feliforms, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more tactical bunch. The most obvious example is the meerkat, which is a type of mongoose that specializes specifically in being extra well adapted to work together. But most mongooses are, at the very least, gregarious, and because mongooses are much more vulnerable than builds like the lion or wolf, they need to work together both in order to succeed in hunting and to watch each other's backs and protect each other. Their power stat is pretty mid for a carnivorous mammal, to be honest. Unlike most members of the feliform faction, mongooses do not have retractable claws. They use their...
Look man, here's what I'm gonna say about that, being not too powerful. in a right condition that can make you OP, because now you have to like be clever more, right? Why humans dominate the planet? Because we weren't that powerful. Like as a physical body, we are not that good, right? Sure, there's things like sweat and things that nearly makes us OP and actually gave us ability to survive in the first place. But if you were like any more powerful, like look at the Neanderthals, right? They were more powerful than Homo sapiens, right? Like just better, like physically. So basically, they weren't as smarter because they didn't have to, right? And they just evolved in that way, and eventually, obviously, got like taken out. Why? Because we were more smarter. We were like better in a way, right? So we had to be clever because of our limitations. Like if you're too powerful, like a lion and something, you don't have to worry about a lot of things. So you're not gonna try to be creative, right? So something like that. If there is bad condition and you're trying to figure it out, you're gonna get smarter and smarter and better in that way. You're gonna evolve in that way. So I can see some shit like that happening.
Their claws primarily for digging, which worked quite well, but of course inevitably dulls their claws and makes them less useful for healing damage. As a result, mongooses have to rely solely on their bite force to inflict damage, which is unfortunately nothing special. Still, it's enough to get the job done against low HP targets, which is really all you need as a mid-sized social predator. It just means that they can't really threaten an attacking player, and need to cede territory whenever pressured. Now, due to the
This is so good. Like Lance, like the fuck you doing, man? I can kill you like that, and this is like slightly tap it, like get out of here.
mongoose's slender shape, you might assume that similar to honey badgers, stoats, and ferrets, the mongoose sports thick, loose skin that allows it to take reduced damage and avoid critical hits. Unfortunately, mongooses do not have this perk, and need to play a much less reckless.
Okay, I love that ragdoll physics applied in real life as well. That thing just like flew it on and just like it's like rigid when it falls, not some fluidity or something. Basically, like how Elder Scrolls went into Fusroda and just everybody just like is like ragdoll, right? So ragdoll physics are real apparently.
Skin than honey badgers in the face of danger. This lack of thick, loose skin also makes them less resistant to cold damage, forcing them to stick to servers where ice damage isn't a threat. One unique defensive trait they do have, however, is total resistance to venom. Their blood neutralizes most toxins, rendering them almost completely harmless towards the mongoose. This is the main reason their matchup against snakes and scorpions is so oppressive. The mongoose's mobility stat is also fairly mid for a feliform. While certainly quite nimble and agile, its actual run speed is below average for a mammal. Even discounting the cheetah as an outlier, most cats have a movement speed that is well above average.
Even discounting cheetah is like, God damn it, I only have one thing going. I suck. I can't even get food, right? Like people, all the other animals constantly snatch food from me. I suck. I only had speed and you ain't gonna take that up only. Let's not talk about cheetah. Awful.
And are excellent climbers. The mongoose can still move much quicker than any reptile it might encounter, but compared to mammalian predators it might face, it is a bit slow. Its slender body and shorter legs do not offer any benefits for speed. Instead, this shape allows mongooses to remain low to the ground, taking advantage of cover more easily and also enabling it to access the tight spaces and burrows that its main threats cannot follow them into. Other than their short stature, mongooses don't really have any major.
Okay, why put claw in there? What, you have fingers? What, you have thumb, opposable thumb? You're gonna grab it out? How are you gonna grab that? No, I can't reach it.
Stealth-based abilities that they use, so their stealth stat is only average as well. Perception-wise, the mongoose is truly one of the most unique builds in the game. If you watched my last video, you'll remember that I spoke at length how important the house cat's snake-like vertical slit pupil is for ensuring high accuracy on its attacks, which enables the cat to parry and counterattack incredibly effectively.
Cats are insane, man. Seriously, the reflexes, like that slow camera channel. What is that for? God, fuck. The Fact Vision channel, right? I just watched Fact Vision video on like that slow, those slow motion guys basically who captured that like short thing, right? I forgot their name. Somebody like that needs to like really like put slow motion camera and like see cats' reflexes in real time. That would be so insane because cats are insanely fast. Something they do is like, what the fuck just happened? You actually slow down and realize that they are doing multiple things during that small portion of time, which your eyes cannot even process because how fast it happened. Cats are insanely fast.
Even if they don't have vertical slit pupils, most predators will at least have circular pupils that will allow for optimal forward binocular vision. Mongooses have horizontal pupils, Horizontal pupils do not enhance
What?
depth perception and attack accuracy. Instead, the purpose of a horizontal pupil is to broaden the player's field of view, making it easier to detect
It's ultra wide camera. 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Okay, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was gonna be like, like everything else. I didn't know anything at that kind of like pupils. But damn, that's something. Seeing that would feel really weird because snakes and all this, right? They always have like vertical, not a horizontal.
incoming attacks from the side or from behind. In addition to this unconventional eye structure, mongooses also have an excellent sense of smell and hearing. So how well do these stats and abilities synergize with each other? Honestly, it's a pretty mixed bag. Because the mongoose's stats are generally a bit on the low side, they're not able to outrun or repel attackers. Instead, they have to rely on their digging ability for safety. This greatly limits the potential territory they can explore.
I like how they every time they just take this tall position just to scan the environment because they can apparently.
As if they get too far from their burrows, it's unlikely they'd be able to escape an ambush. It also means that any player with the ability to pursue them into their burrow completely negates their main line of defense. The mongoose's eyesight is...
Imagine seeing that. What was that, like Komodo dragon? Was that like a crocodile? Whatever, doesn't matter. Imagine seeing that just enter your hole. Oh my god, I'm dead. It's like, that's the problem with burrows and things, right? Like if something gets in, there is no other exit. They should try to do, like, obviously they're not smart enough, but they should try to do ants type of thing, right? Like multiple, places and like multiple exits or something. Even ants don't have multiple exits, right? They only have one exit. What the fuck is that? Like ants make all these colonies, like all the vents and things. It feels like a proper big ass structure they create, not just one hole. But they always have one entrance, like just have two. But I guess that's complex thinking. I don't know.
truly a confounding inclusion in an otherwise fairly standard Mesopredator game plan. Now, credit where it's due, the horizontal pupils do offer some extra benefits that synergize well with the Mongoose's game plan. They offer a slight perception bonus in bright sunlight conditions compared to vertical or round pupils. Because mongooses are diurnal, in direct sunlight, the tan dirt of the African savanna could impede their vision if they didn't have a way to mitigate it. But ultimately, plenty of savanna builds make do without this, so I have to assume the real purpose of this ability is the expanded field of view, which primarily aids in avoiding ambushes. This reflects a higher than normal vulnerability to attacks from predators, which I consider the mark of a less than excellent build if I were to stop things here. But I do think this does have one more important synergy for the Mongoose's playstyle. The expanded field of view allows the mongoose to more easily keep track of where its teammates are, improving its ability to coordinate with the movements of other mongooses.
Basically, when we went to buses, right, and like bus driver always has that like kind of like a back-looking mirror, but it's basically curved, so you can see all like everybody sitting and the side and everything. I'm pretty sure I have that in my SUV, big SUV, 7-seater SUV that has that. They stopped giving that. That car is a bit old, but yeah, basically you can see not just who's sitting behind you, but the windows and everything is basically curved, shit like that. Because of that like vision, you can see a lot of like field of vision is much higher.
This is reflected in its exceptional unity and fluidity at which the mongoose teams function. While plenty of other builds engage in team strategies, mongooses are unique in how tight a formation they're able to hold to. This is surprisingly useful for intimidation, as when the mongoose band moves in such tight formation, they appear as just one mass, which can easily confuse and startle large predators long enough to make an escape.
Oh, I see that.
So, how does the mongoose fare in its most important matchups? Even deciding which matchups to include was difficult, given how widespread the
African server, that's like, that's something, right?
mongoose player base is. But I'll keep things broad enough that it should be applicable to mongoose mains everywhere. Mongooses famously have an overwhelmingly positive matchup against snakes due to their venom immunity. This is more important than it first seems. Obviously, it's good to be able to score easy kills and feed the troop, but snakes are also normally the biggest threat to burrowing builds, as they can easily slither into tight spaces and wreak havoc. Burrowing builds that don't possess venom immunity, like prairie dogs, have huge difficulty dealing with snakes, so being able to turn this vulnerability into a strength plays hugely in the mongoose's favor. Against larger predators, mongooses do struggle. They're the main reason they need to remain close enough.
I like how like this snake must be Mr. Potter or whatever, like where just like slithering and going inside the burrow. You're dead now, and Mongo's like, I'm dead. No, you just came to your death and just like choke hold it and like bite it down. There you go. I don't get venom. That is OP ability, right? I'm imagining they one of the very few one burrow animal actually develop that kind of thing, like immunity like that, because other are usually screwed. That's how snakes eat, I guess. And snakes are generally just bigger predator to everything, right? Even to us humans, right? Snake is kind of a threat. In snakes usually don't have properties where they basically just try to sneak into your home all the time, unless it's like really really inconveniently placed home with doors and things, right? Because I'm pretty sure like snakes everywhere. I'm pretty sure where I live there are snakes or something. Not really, because it's like urban environment, like tarmac and everywhere. But I'm pretty sure there was a time I remember long ago where snakes were a thing, because there were like farmhouses around where I was living long ago, and I remember snake being a problem. But I don't think snake ever got into anyone's home, even though it can. Which means snakes doesn't necessarily try to get in the home or something. Because otherwise, if that were common, and snakes are basically everywhere, people would be screwed, right? Because snake is basically so sneaky, it can just hide behind like furnitures, like just door. People have found snakes in a very weird place, which is like properly hidden, like you would never know type of way. Just gets sneaked in and just hide. And when you sleep, this is the fucked up part. If you're sleeping and you get like bitten by like really venomous snake, right? You might not even feel pain, right? There are snakes that can bite you and you will not feel pain, and you're sleeping, which means you'll never wake up. You'll be dead. Somebody like wake up and you're already dead from the poison, which just panics me when I think about it. Like, I don't have the phobia, but that's when I learned that thing. It's like, yeah, let's just check for snakes. I maintain my house all the time, and of course, okay, let's check every single square, because I don't want snake there type of way.
After their burrows and party members, as without them to aid in escaping attacks, they cannot defend themselves. So against big cats, dogs, hyenas, and the like, the mongoose player needs to take advantage of all of its outs and work with its teammates to avoid disaster. Skilled players can hold their own in this matchup, but mistakes will be punished hard. Warthogs are one of the most surprising encounters a mongoose can have. Rather than being adversarial, warthog and mongoose players often form temporary alliances. The mongoose team will cleanse the warthog player of all parasite debuffs, and in return, well, the warthog won't really deliberately do anything to help out a mongoose, but simply by tolerating them in close proximity, the warthog is protecting them. Because they're extremely dangerous and normally very territorial, mongooses are much safer.
Yeah, warthogs are insane. So I don't see certain, even lions, I'm pretty sure see warthogs like not now. Lions usually don't take chances, which is like, I guess, better for longevity. I don't know. I've seen lions basically, lion can take out a lot of things, right? Lion is one of the biggest predator on the planet. But if it sees something like, basically warthog or something like that, it's like not now, basically like go away, right? Unless they're in pack, which they might basically try to take it out or something, right? But yeah, usually warthog and things like that, yeah, people are like, okay, let's stay away, maybe next time.
When warthogs are nearby, and can venture further from their burrows so long as they remain within line of sight of a warthog. Birds of prey are one of the most dangerous.
Oh yeah, Hakuna Matata, right? Puma and Simba, what was that? Forgot those two, right? There is a warthog. What? What is? Wait a minute, I need to Google that. Yeah, man, it is that. Look at that. It's like warthog Pumbaa and his meerkat buddy Timon. What? I didn't know that. As a kid, I remember watching that and playing. There was a video game like that as well about these two. Was it an NES game? I don't know, but one of those type. I'm pretty sure I had like a Sony player or something like that, DVD player back then, way long ago, which also played video games like this for some reason, right? So it is that. What? That's surprising. I didn't know that one.
Matchups for mongooses. Because their perception stat tends to be extremely high, they will often target you before you've spotted them, leaving very little time to prepare defense or escape. However, because their power stat tends to be a bit lower, often there is a bit of time between the initial strike and the actual kill, meaning that if your team can rally quickly...
Eagles looking around like, yeah, nobody's here, nothing to see here. Everybody's just like trying to look around while actively trying to kill that thing. I don't know why, that's creepy.
Enough, they may actually be able to save you from an attack. So once again, while technically quite a difficult matchup, skilled players with reliable teammates should be able to hold their own. Drawing comparisons to similarly sized solo builds like the Weasel and Ferret, their matchup against an avian attacker is a lot more hopeless. This is essentially the story of the mongoose. Overall, it has an unimpressive set of stats and abilities, but because the abilities it does have are primarily focused on enabling team strategies, a troop of skilled mongoose maidens can often be far more successful than you would expect, from such an underwhelming build. Overall, I'm gonna have to give the Mongoose a mid-tier rating. It has no severe flaws holding it back, but imagine how overpowered a clan of Mongoose players would be if it actually had any busted abilities. Like with the Mongoose, when a group of
Yeah, basically, like, look, man, let's say UFC, right? You're Conor McGregor, which is like what, featherweight? Something like that, right? Very great fighter and all that shit, but let's be honest, even the retired, not that great of a fighter, but who's heavyweight, let's say Brock Lesnar, right? If Brock Lesnar and Conor McGregor fights, and I'm not even talking about now, let's just say both are in their prime, right? Brock doesn't even need to be in their prime. No way in hell Conor McGregor is ever winning, because one is near 300 pound, right? And one is like really great skilled fighter, but it's just like featherweight, right? Let's be honest. So shit like that. Mongoose, like they're so slim, slender, and they're so small. Proper predators like eagles, lions, basically they're gonna be fucked, right? So they're not gonna be S tier in that way. Maybe if they weren't in Africa server somewhere else, but even then, like every server has some kind of a top powerful predator with OP stats. So Mongoose probably not gonna be that, I guess. Makes sense.
individuals functions as one unified, cohesive team, it can look pretty impressive and can be a spectacle to watch. However, one thing that may be even more fun to watch is when one player on a team is trying to subtly sabotage the group's efforts. I was recently on a hilarious game show with this exact premise. I know it's weird to think of me as a filthy try-hard human main rather than an omniscient disembodied voice, but it's true, I do exist in
Is this Tierzoo? Wait a minute, why haven't I know about this show?
corporeal form. The incredibly talented team at Wendover Productions and Jetlag the Game invited me to be a part of a game show that they were making. What they told me was that a group of creators, including myself, were going to be tasked with completing a bunch of wacky challenges, and that my job was to play the snitch, the saboteur who would try and subtly mess up to prevent the group from succeeding. What they didn't tell me was that they told everyone else the exact same thing. As you can imagine, this resulted in one of the funniest, most chaotic shows in existence, and I seriously could not be more proud to have been a part of it. We truly made something awesome, and you absolutely have to check it out. It's called The Getaway, and it's streaming exclusively on Nebula, the sponsor of this video. Nebula, if you haven't heard, is the creator-owned stream.
Yeah, well, go to go.nebula.tv forces Tierzoo. Should I get Nebula? I don't know, like, does it have like many historical video and things like that? Because I don't know, it feels appealing, right? Because I react to these videos like this because I actually like it. That's why I started reaction channel. It wasn't something like, oh, wait a minute, I guess I can watch something and give my take on it as well. Might as well do it type of way, right? I wasn't looking to create a YouTube channel, but it's just like, yeah, I'll do that. There you go. I like this type of it. So historical videos, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things on Nebula. Maybe I should get it, right? Because I have like Netflix, Prime. What the hell else I have? Like Disney Plus, which is called Hotstar. But yeah, that's pretty sure that's it. I don't know. But yeah, I have like things like that. Might as well take this one. Why not? Well, that was our Mongooses OP. I mean, they should be OP, but their size is just one thing that holding them back, I guess. If they were like insanely fast, I mean, they would have like escaped a lot of things. Then they would be OP, but that's not even the case, right? But yeah, it's like you would think Cheetah's OP, right? But it's not, because speed is the only thing it has, right? Imagine if Cheetah was that fast, was close to that fast. Also like Jaguar-like stance and size and power. Maybe not everything that Jaguar has, but just enough things. How powerful Cheetah would be, right? That would be insane. But yeah. Right, if you like my subscribe, and I'll see you next time.